Hey everyone, Chris here from Real Rideshare Stories, along with Dustin from Dustin is Driving.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, so what we're going to be doing is over the next few weeks or so, and maybe even going beyond that, we're going to be sitting down, kind of collabing with each other and talking about a lot of different things going on within rideshare, within the gig economy, and what's just going on in the world today. So make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications to both channels so you can see the different videos when we collab. And if you have any ideas or anything that you want us to discuss and kind of talk about and kind of further exhaust or figure out and go back and forth on, then comment below and let us know. And maybe we can use your topic in a future video.
Yes, definitely totally agree on that. Please let us know, guys, because there's a lot of chaos, a lot of craziness going on in the world. And obviously, you can't just make a single video on everything. So we were trying to put different things together so that way we can just try to cover everything all at once, give everyone the best information that we know possible. But obviously, we don't know it all. We don't pretend to know it all. So please let us know what you want to know down below.
Yes, exactly. And what's going to be pretty cool is it's always nice to do different collabs, I think, and get different ideas when actually making videos and stuff. So that's actually really nice. And Dustin, thanks for I don't know, I guess just getting this going. So first, I
appreciate you. You're the one putting it all together, man. So I really appreciate it. My technical skills are not up to par yet. Yours definitely are. So I totally appreciate it, man. And it is great for us to do stuff like this. So that way, as we're talking about different subjects, we can definitely collab on the same thing and have different opinions and perspectives on the same thing. Because as we know, if everyone agreed with everything we said, it would be kind of boring.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's just jump right into what we wanted to talk about today. And that is this actually the end of Uber and Lyft? We're just going to shorten them a little bit, like Benifer, Ben and Jennifer. We're just going to shorten it. So we'll just say that. Uber. No, I mean, is this going to be the end of Uber and Lyft? Or are they going to come back stronger than before? What's your thoughts first off?
Well, first off, for me, I like to think that this won't be the actual end of Uber and Lyft. But honestly, we don't really know. Because right now, we know for a fact that rides, since the virus has hit and everything, rides itself have been down like what, 94, 96%. A lot of people aren't out there.
Yes. Yeah, that was a few weeks ago too. I think that was like March. I think there was an article that came out in the end of March or something, or at the very beginning of April that was showing that. So yeah, it dropped substantially.
And you can only imagine that it's probably even getting worse. And that number is, rising. It's probably like 95 to 99 by now. I mean, obviously there are still people that are essential employees and stuff needing rides. So people are still taking rides, but it is nowhere near what it used to be. And now they're even having, class action lawsuits and everything at them. Like they've already had, tons of lawsuits in the past. We already all know about this. But now with this pandemic, as we should say, going down, they're making less money. That means they're not making any more to be able to, do these payouts and everything else. So it is potentially possible to say Uber and Lyft could be in really, really big trouble. We already know for a fact that Amazon is paired up with Lyft. So we don't know if they're backing them or, with extra funds or something else. But rideshare itself, I think, is always going to stay. Now, if Uber and Lyft are still going to be the names of the companies afterwards, I'm not so sure.
That's true. Well, we just figured out that Trip is pretty much going to be done with. But no, we're not talking about them. We're talking about Uber and Lyft ending itself or not. Dara came out and said that they had $10 billion in cash reserves, which I understand that. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm allergic to that BS.
I'm going to question that one as well, too. And if they do have $10 billion in cash reserves, then they're actually probably doing pretty good because Uber Eats is probably doing pretty well compared to, these ride sharing aspects of it. So that's why Lyft had to go into doing deliveries and partnering with Amazon and talking about delivering medical supplies and things along that nature. So going into it, obviously, they're really getting screwed right now because that is the bulk of their business, no matter what. Uber Eats only accounted for, I think, what was it, between 20 and 30%. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's where it was in terms of their revenue source. Now it's pretty much their entire revenue source because, yeah, rides have dropped. And one of the crazy things that I've been doing just as like an experiment is to go on the passengers app and look to see if there's anybody out there. And I'll go on at different times during the day and I'll have something that pops up at the bottom that says no rides available on Uber. And once in a while, I might see a car here or there, which is still 20, 30 minutes away from where I'm actually at. And same thing on Lyft. You might see one or two cars. You don't see a whole group of people. So there's a lot less drivers out there and there's a lot less demand.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And I have actually looked at that myself. Before, we used to be bombarded by what we called the ants, which was all the other drivers. Now it seems like all the ants have died out. They're very far and few between. And like you were saying, Uber Eats made up, like 20, 30%, something like that. It was very low. But now with rideshare being down like 96%, I guarantee you that's turned into Uber Eats now being up 96%. You get what I'm saying? Uber Eats is pretty much all of the income that they are making because there's just not many trips being made anymore. And like you said, with Lyft, trying to, getting the bailout or trying to move on to doing other things from Amazon helping them out because Lyft didn't have what we call a backup plan. They didn't have alternate things, where you could do Uber Eats. So of course now they're trying to move into that, the medical supplies and everything else. I'm thinking just to stay afloat. You know what I'm saying? Because we already knew before all this went down, I think Uber still had like 60 or 70% of the market, and Lyft was only like, 30 or 40%. Technically, Uber was still the more popular of the two. Now, I know that's up for debate. A lot of people, have their preferences, but let's be real, guys. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah. And
same drivers usually are on both, you know what I mean? And the same passengers. So it's not really a big difference. The only thing is the name.
Yeah, not only that, then on top of it, you also have certain markets. Lyft is more than Uber, but again, that's market by market and city by city. So, but overall, when you're looking at it, yeah, Uber has a lot more in its arsenal. So they have not only the ride sharing aspect of things, they also have the scooters, which I don't even know if they're really being used at this point anymore.
Probably not right now.
Then they had Uber Eats, and they're also venturing into other aspects. So they're not just staying in one arena of rideshare. They're trying to venture out into other income generating revenue streams, while Lyft has pretty much been a 1.5 trick pony. And that is because they also have those little scooters. But again, how many people are really using them overall versus rideshare itself?
And not the fact that, we already know Lyft almost always copied Uber, like you said, a 1.5 trick pony. So Uber at least had other tricks, and Lyft is just trying to now come to the table. So like we were saying in the beginning of this whole thing is will this potentially be the end of Uber and Lyft? We like to think not. We like to think after this is done with, everyone's going to want to be out and, taking trips, going anywhere just to get away from where they've been for the last, month, 2, 3, whenever this is done. Right now, we're going into week 5 of all the kids being home. So I think it's at least 6, 7 weeks of people actually being quarantined. It's getting insane out there. And I strongly like to believe that when this is all done, all the delivery apps and everything that are in high demand and what's popping is what's not going to be popping anymore. And that rideshare will be coming back, full force. But I'd like to also think at the same time, I don't know, because of how they're treating drivers and stuff right now with all this going down, a lot of drivers might have finally gotten smart and realized that these were mainly supposed to be like side hustles, extra income. A lot of people put their savings and everything into this when they first started because it was, they were doing really good. Their markets were great. And then since they took this big hit, they haven't been doing very well. And then when people were trying to claim sick pay, they were getting the runaround. The unemployment, which they're lucky if they're going to get, and I'm pretty sure I haven't heard anybody actually say they've gotten the extra unemployment or anything for being a gig worker. So that's still pretty much up in the air. And
Yeah. Actually, good news is I just read an article that they said, I didn't read it. Well, I should clarify. I came across an article that said that it will still protect gig workers under that whole unemployment. And so earlier, I know I made a video. I don't know if you did or not. I don't remember. But it was a hurdle and a challenge because the Labor Department was saying that it may not cover gig workers because they're requiring so much. So now it looks like they may have laxed that a little bit. And I have to still read the article to see what it says. But if that's the case, that's going to be really good because that will actually, I don't know if I want to use the word guarantee, but at least it'll give drivers who have really been affected from this, at least in terms of how much business has dropped, that they're still able to make some sort of income to be able to pay the bills, to be able to, survive and put food on the table for themselves, their family, and all that during this time. And who knows how long it's going to last. Like you said, it's been, March 20th was when they shut down New York State pretty much for all the non-essential. And now they're actually upping it to May 15th now. Cuomo came out and just said, now it's going to be May 15th. So we still have a whole nother month to go.
I know it's crazy. It was supposed to be the end of this month in April when everything was hopefully starting to get back to normal and whatnot. And that's gone out the window. I mean, nobody knows. Pretty much we can all agree, no matter what, guys. And if you agree, you better give the video a thumbs up, that nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring. It seems like everything is changing each and every single day. One day, everyone's all, happy and hopeful that, oh, look, we're all getting unemployment. The next day, they're like, well, you don't pay in, so we don't know what we can do. So nobody really knows what's going to go on. But we do know for a fact, though, that there is the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Act. So that is supposed to help people out no matter what. So that's like the only real kind of guarantee that is out there. So if anybody has not yet tried to file for anything, please go to careeronestop.org and keep checking up on your state. Because if you don't check each and every state, you're never going to know, and you're never going to have the right information to be able to try to collect anything.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then not only that, one of the big things that I do want to stress too is if you are looking for unemployment, great, but don't count on it if there's some sort of issue. Like, I don't want people to be like, oh, I stopped working 3-4 weeks ago and they're running on fumes right now. Like, if you're running on fumes and you got to do something, do what you have to do in order to stay afloat. If you got to call your bank, or if you got to call your creditors and kind of push things off, do that. If you do have to go out and do one of the apps to at least make some sort of money for food or anything like that, make sure you do that, because yes, it looks like unemployment's going to happen, but there's been hurdles that we've already looked at, and hopefully that won't be coming back to bite anyone in the ass.
Yeah, that's all we can do really is hope. And that's what we've always told everybody. You have to have backup plans, see backup plans. You know what I mean? Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Because let's face it, guys, the government is not going to give you everything you need. And if they do somehow give you a bunch of things that you need, it ain't going to be happening right now. So you need to take it upon yourself to do what you got to do to survive and eat. Like you said, you got to feed your families. You know what I'm saying? You got to eat yourself. You got to live day by day. And that's why we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So do what you can today to be in the best position for when tomorrow does come. And when I was always saying have backup plans, remember, guys, if this is somehow the beginning of the end of Uber and Lyft, well, you're going to have to think of something else. You might either have to find a different kind of gig, Amazon Flex, Instacart. You might have to try a different gig. But remember, guys, in the end, you might actually have to think about going back to a normal job. I hate to say it. I know nobody's going to like to hear that, but that's the honest truth. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And the decision is yours. We can't tell you what to do. We're not paying your bills or anything, but all we can do is give you the facts that we all know at hand and give you the options. That's the main thing, because if Uber and Lyft do go under, a lot of people are going to be screwed, because a lot of people didn't think ahead. And right now, with unemployment being as high as it is, because other companies have either shut down or they're just making everybody staying from home, it's not going to be easy to find something new. It's really not. But hopefully, no matter what, rideshare has become a part of normal life. We just don't know what the company is going to be called. For all we know, Amazon could buy them out. You know what I'm saying? Google.
Or it could be Luber.
Or it could be Uber. Lyft and Uber can merge, and you guys just don't know.
All right, so wrapping up real quick though, if they make it through, and it's more, let's be real, more than likely they're both going to make it through onto the other side of this whole thing. If it doesn't last very long, I mean, if this is something that lasts long, then there's a lot of other things that might be going up as well too. But if it's shorter, maybe through May 15th when they start opening things back up, whether it's gradual or not, once restaurants and bars open up, I mean, at least I'll give my opinions after you share yours. But how do you think Uber and Lyft are going to fare once they do start opening things up? Granted that they do make it past this, if it's much shorter than something that could be very long term.
I think if everything goes according to hopefully the plan, that Uber and Lyft are going to bounce back from this, and I mean, and the stock market will probably recover. Everything's going to probably be on the uprise, for the simple fact of, like we were saying, people are going to want to get out and go places. But I think there's going to be tons of demand for Uber and Lyft. The only problem I foresee now is a lot of drivers that are pissed off with all this going on. It's if they're really going to actually be out there driving. Because if they're not out there driving, doesn't matter how many riders you got, they ain't going to be getting picked up.
Yeah. All I know is, so my thought is, I think it's going to be like a Halloween weekend, a New Year's Eve weekend. I think it's going to be something so astronomically busy once restaurants and bars actually open up, because people have been cooped up in their homes. Like before all this went in crazily. So our one of our bars right before St. Patrick's Day, when all this kind of really happened, was packed to the brim of people. And everybody's freaking out like, oh my God, you can't do that, because that was like the whole beginning of social distancing and stuff like that. So I think with so many people being trapped at home, that they're going to want to go out and they're going to go to restaurants and bars. And I really think, at least for the short term, right after everything does open up and people start going out, because you're going to have a lot of people doing it, they're going to really be busy and really hopping. So at least that's my opinion, my thoughts. I mean, it could be different.
I definitely agree though, man. The first weekend, that when all this is finally done and they say, bam, it's lifted, kids can go back to school and everything else, it's going to be a New Year's week. That's what I think it's going to be. It's going to definitely be the most profitable week ever.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely going to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So any last comments on that?
I just want this to be done with and over with so we can get back to life as normal. That's what I have to say.
I hear you there. I don't know about you, but I mean, it looks like you're pretty much staying at home enjoying. Well, I'm just relaxing at the beach a little bit.
I know, right? You got me all jealous, and I'm over here, got my coat on. I'm cold. I'm like, can you throw me some sunshine, please? Just a little bit, just a little.
All right. Well, with
guys.
that, go ahead.
Oh, look at that. See this? We gotta love this. But all right, guys. With that, in closing, please always check the description below for extra information and tips. You guys keep doing your thing. Try to get your money. Definitely above all, stay safe out there. And until next time, guys, Uber on or don't. Peace out, everybody.